All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Hood v. Mann, the Clash of Titans, the seasoned journalist versus the year two TigerNetter. Here we go. David, Clemson has 8 games left. Swinney said that they can't win the national championship, but they can still win the season and try to course correct whatever this season may become. And so it's going to be fascinating to kind of dive into it. They start with North Carolina. So I think today's edition, with it being the open date, how many games will Clemson win this season? It's a crazy question that we're having to ask in September.
Well, there's 8 games left, and you kind of have to look at the schedule and figure, what games are going to be winnable. And because we're doing this in kind of an abbreviated fashion, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Clemson's going to beat North Carolina. They have some opt-outs. And that's just not a very good North Carolina team. In fact, that's a very bad North Carolina team. And then I will say this. If Clemson goes up to Chapel Hill and loses to North Carolina, we're going to be having some really tough conversations that Sunday and Monday. But I will throw this out there to begin with. I still have a lot of faith in this team. We've seen the players only meeting. Maybe there's some accountability there. Maybe they can turn this thing around. And I still believe they can. I've seen it before, but I think they beat North Carolina and kind of get this next quarter of the season off on the right foot.
I think that North Carolina is the one that you have to win. This feels, I know it's 1-3 and must win. It doesn't really equate to much when you're not contending for a national championship, but I'd say it's a must win for the program. It's a North Carolina team that's, I think, given up 88 points in its 2 Power 4 games. So they're, in comparisons to the GTs, the LSUs, and the Syracuses of the world, this is a bottom-of-the-barrel team that Clemson should absolutely have its way with. But looking at the rest of the schedule, David, I'm a little less hesitant to give Clemson the benefit of the doubt yet. Even after a North Carolina win, I'm looking at SMU, Duke, a lot of good teams with good quarterback play. Florida State, Louisville, South Carolina. They're going to get a win over Furman. So I think you can guarantee at this point those two, which – with the state it's in right now, that's a pretty brutal statement, probably a pretty damning statement about the state of this team. Right now, I'm thinking 6-6. I just think that there's going to be some lulls. I could see still the effort and some of the issues that have come up in this quarter of the season be very prevalent. I don't think that's fixable in one bye week or one team meeting. I do think this is a talented group. That's why we thought they were contenders, but I could very well see that South Carolina game being a battle for bowl contention.
Yeah, and I think I will probably go 7-5. And again, I can see this team running the table. I truly can. I still think that Dabo can push the right buttons. I still think that those buttons can be pushed and things can happen. But I have 3 losses for you. Florida State team playing really, really well. I think that going up to Louisville on a Friday night with some of the explosiveness that they have on the outside and with that running back and the fact that they seemingly have an axe to grind with Clemson for all of the close losses over the years. And that type of offense has given Clemson fits so far. I kind of see that as a loss. And then somewhere in that Duke, SMU, South Carolina, I think there's another loss in there. And I believe that they can win too. Duke is not great. They are putting up points, though. That's one good thing for them. SMU, we know that they can score. You worry about Clemson's defense. All of the issues out on the perimeter with that defense. I'm like you. I don't know that a bye week makes it any better.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think, David, you said that this team still is capable of running the table. On paper, with the talent that is currently on this roster, it's there. But I think for me, it's one of those situations where, and this has been since sort of Troy, where I need to see it to believe it. It's just one of those, it's like Santa Claus. I need to see the guy in the red coming down delivering presents first before I declare that Santa's real. I just can't. And so for Clemson, I think the bright start is probably a win against North Carolina, but still that's a North Carolina team with Bill Belichick that didn't have the talent going into this year, and it doesn't look like it's been a successful marriage so far. You got Belichick and his girlfriend kind of macking on the sideline. It's just been a big mess over there in Chapel Hill. So
I
guess we'll just see. I said Mackin, but just a big mess overall. And okay, I'll make sure we cut this.
No, I think it's great. You got me tickled.
Does this mean I win the debate?
I think so. I'm done. You win.
I'm going to keep this in. This is great.
Oh, I really needed that this morning.
There you go.
Yeah, that's just not a great situation up there. I'm looking forward to going up there, though, and seeing the changes they've made in the stadium. And I'm really looking forward to see how this team responds. I'll tell you what, maybe not so much we find out what they're made of at North Carolina. Again, not a very good team. But Boston College, depending on what time of day that is, it seems like it's always windy. Feels like it's always cold. Boston College has those beef eaters up on their lines of scrimmage that maybe, aren't great, but somehow they put guys in the NFL. It's not a great atmosphere. It's a bring your own guts type of an atmosphere. I want to see how they respond that game, because that's
BC's always been it's always been a spot that's been naturally presenting a disadvantage to whoever goes in there. And I remember that 2018 game was close for a while before Trevor Lawrence and co picked it up. It was game day, if I don't recall. I remember Lee Corso saying, which delivered the greatest laughter out of my dad, but I'd never seen before, where he goes, yeah, they got a real chance today. They're not going to win. And he goes, they won't. And then tosses the BC Eagle and puts on the Clemson Tiger and does his wave. God bless you, Lee Corso. But yeah, I think BC's probably that right spot where we truly get an opinion on this team. That's a tough place to play. BC, they're putting up points, but they're also giving up a lot. So it's one of those situations that could be the spot for the offense. Clemson's been out, got a lot of hurt. I would not be shocked if they Dabo takes it to Belichick next week, but still won't tell me a lot about this team until we get probably to mid-October when they play BC.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what this next month brings. I know that fans are checked out in a lot of ways. I get it. You're told this team can compete for a national title, and now that is gone. But I'm anxious to see how this story unfolds. Just as someone who has covered this program for a long time, I'm anxious to see how this goes, because you have this open date, and then it's at North Carolina, it's at Boston College, and then you come home for that stretch of SMU, Duke, Florida State. That's going to be a fun 3 weeks. You go on the road to Louisville, then you come home for Furman, go back on the road for South Carolina. I think it's going to be fun to see how this all evolves, to see what buttons Dabo Swinney pushes.
And we shall see. David's got 7-5. I've got a little bit more of a 6-6. We're kind of on some common ground, but David's got one more win for the Clemson Tigers in 2025. A pretty, I would say, sobering reality for this program. But guys, thank you as always for tuning in. Subscribe for more of Hood v. Mann and our epic clashes, where I win on my comedy.
And Mackin.
I win on my comedy alone and my choice of vocabulary. Guys, thank you as always. God bless y'all. Have a good one.